Hello, g'day mate, I'm a Tikka T3 Light to be exact. What are you? I'm Lithgow LA102. Ah, you're the new kid on the block. The Australian. Yep, what gave it away? Is your stock made of a reinforced fiberglass copolymer polypropylene? You betcha. And your barrel? Is it a cold hammer forged high quality stainless steel Sako barrel? My barrel is a cold hammer forged military grade steel with a titanium certificate finish. Well, there's no action that compares to the smoothness of a Tikka action. Well mate, you've obviously never felt the action on a Lithgow, have ya? My bolt has 2 locking lugs. My bolt's got 3 locking lugs. So you're like my baby brother then. We'll see who's the baby down at the range, won't we?
Alright guys, so we're down at the range. My brother-in-law's just sighting in his Hauer model 1500. Going to be sighting in the Lithgow LA102 in 223 and the Tikka T3 Light also in 223. Going to be using OSA Blitzking 55 grains, also Remington Acutips, American Eagles and Sarah and Bellet as well. Hopefully they'll give us a good idea as to the consistency and the accuracy of these two rifles. Hey guys, welcome to Good Cam Hunting. Today I wanted to conduct a comparison review between Finland's Tikka T3 Light and Australia's Lithgow Arms LA102. There's a number of reasons why I chose to compare these two rifles in particular. For me personally, when it came time to buying a 223, I really couldn't go past either rifle. Also, I've seen a lot of people commenting on Facebook pages asking the same question I had. Do I want to buy Tikka or do I want to buy Lithgow? Also, if it wasn't for Dean Maslin for commenting on my previous vlog and asking the same question, I wouldn't have gotten around to this vlog as soon as I would have liked to have done. So shout out to Dean for prompting me to make this review. As you've just seen, I was able to take both of these rifles out for a shoot and run a few different factory ammunitions through them and get some results, but we'll get back to those later on in the video. So for now, let's take a close look at these two rifles. Firstly, let's check out the Tikka. This is a Tikka T3 Light chambered in 223. On first glimpse we can see it has a floated, cold hammer forged, high quality stainless steel Sako barrel. This particular barrel is a 1 in 12 inch 6 groove twist, but the rifle also comes available in a 1 in 8 inch 6 groove twist. The stock is a reinforced fiberglass copolymer polypropylene. You would not believe how hard it was for me to get that out of my skid at the start of this video. So for the rest of this video we're just going to refer to it as polymer. There's an optional recoil pad system with spacers available for these rifles, so you can adjust the length of pull to better suit the shooter. Atop the receiver we have a 17mm dovetail rail for scope rings and other optical mounts, and on the other side of the stock we also have 2 sling studs. Overall, from the butt of the stock to the muzzle, we have a total length of 1080mm or 42.5 inches. Picking up the rifle now, the first thing you're going to notice is the weight. This rifle weighs 2.8 kilograms or 6.1 pounds. Now that's just the rifle, that's no scope, no rings, no bipod, nothing, just the rifle. It's nice and light, so it's great for hunting. It's easy to hold when shooting from a standing position, which you'll find will have little fatigue. Even throwing this over your shoulder on a sling, it's not going to slow you down. The next thing I guarantee you're going to notice with this rifle is its smooth bolt action. The bolt has a solid steel removable handle, and with its smooth rounded finish, it's just extremely comfortable. It has a 70-degree opening angle, and when you cycle that action, it just glides backwards and forwards. The 2 locking lugs on the face of the bolt line up with 2 grooves inside the receiver, which act as guides for the bolt, allowing it to almost float backwards and forwards. Because there is very little contact between the bolt and the receiver, there is a little bit of slack, but it's nothing to cry about and can certainly be overlooked. Bringing the rifle up to eye level now, pulling it into your shoulder, resting your cheek and taking aim. It's just comfortable. The fore end of the stock just falls into place. It's not too wide, it's just the right width to rest in the palm of your hand. The 4-round mag blends into the stock so you can run your hand up and down the underside of the stock and barely notice it. Even the mag latch has been recessed into the underside of the stock. Your firing hand again just molds around the grip of this rifle. The 2-stage safety is located just behind the bolt handle within thumb's reach. Though for me personally, I find I have to slide my hand forward just to pull the safety back and engage it. Though disengaging it is a simple push forward. I've also found the way your hand just falls around this grip places your trigger finger in a good position to either rest alongside the stock or rest upon the trigger ready to fire. Now the trigger is a single stage adjustable trigger which can be adjusted from 1 to 2 kilos or 2 to 4 pounds. Resting your cheek on the stock now, I think everything here is set perfectly. My eyes are level with the scope, I don't have to raise my head to be able to see clearly. If you have a larger scope or taller scope rings, that may change, but the way this rifle here is set up to run with a Weaver 3 to 9x40, it's near perfect. Now remember, this is a T3 and not a T3X. Though a lot of the specs are similar, Tikka have made improvements to the T3X, such as new recoil pad technology, stock noise reduction, redesigned ejection port, improved rail attachments. They've even gone ahead and removed the plastic bolt shroud and replaced it with a metallic bolt shroud. You can also buy attachments for the stock to change things like the angle of the grip to give it more of a pistol grip feel. All in all, I personally think this is a great rifle and I don't believe you could go wrong with owning a Tikka. I mean, their slogan is second to none after all. However, let's take a look at the new kid on the block. Here we have the Lithgow Arms LA102 chambered in 223. Let's talk about what we can see. Straight away, I think the first thing I noticed on this rifle, although it is a little detail, was the Picatinny rail atop the receiver. It is a separate piece of the receiver, but it does come out of the factory attached to the rifle as stock. The barrel is a cold hammer forged military grade steel. It has a semi-varmint contour with a titanium Cerakote finish. It has a 1 in 9 inch 6-groove twist, and it also comes stock with an M14 threaded muzzle. The stock is a reinforced fiberglass polymer, and it comes with 2 spacers, again as stock, so you can adjust the length of pull to better suit the shooter. The LA102 also has 3 sling studs, so you can not only have a sling setup on your rifle, but you can also have a bipod setup, so you're not constantly having to remove your sling or try and faff around attaching the sling to the underside of the bipod. Picking up the rifle now, again, the first thing you're going to notice is the weight. The Lithgow is definitely heavier than the Tikka, there is no denying that. The Lithgow weighs 3.5 kilograms, which is 7.7 pounds. Again, that's just the rifle. No scope, no bipod, nothing. Just the rifle. Now, I'm certainly by no means a big guy, so for someone who's a bit bigger than me, the weight of this rifle might not be an issue. Although, I have gotten used to this over the last 4 months. I take it out hunting with me, I usually have a sling set up on it, I throw it over my shoulder, I do a lot of walking, and I've gotten used to it. I swear, even shooting from a standing position, I reckon I'll gain strength in my arms. So, for me, it's like going to the gym, but my guns go boom. Now, the bolt. The bolt has a smooth, rounded handle, and it just blends into the knob on the end of the bolt. Now, it is a little ugly to look at, and it can be changed, but for practical uses, it's right there, it's comfortable, and it's easy to use when cycling the action. Lifting the bolt with its 65-degree opening angle, and cycling the action. Need I say more? The action on this rifle is just incredibly smooth. It's unbelievable. The bolt is guided backwards and forwards inside the receiver by the internal lug of the bolt release, which is located on the opposite side of the receiver, serving the dual purpose of both the release and the guide. The 3 locking lugs are roughly a millimetre smaller in diameter than the body of the bolt, so they don't touch the inside of the receiver until the bolt is locked securely into place. Now, this means that Lithgow Arms have had to get the machining in this receiver spot on. For such a large surface area to be able to float backwards and forwards with little to no resistance, it's like a glove. There is a little bit of slack when the bolt is thrown all the way back, but it's practically nothing. Bringing the rifle up to eye level and taking aim, you really get the full effect of this rifle. Like the Tikka, The 4-round mag has been recessed into the bottom of this stock, along with the mag latch, so you barely notice them. Your hand just molds around the 4-round of this stock just right. It is a little wide, but even for a smaller guy like me, it just works. Moving down to your firing hand, I feel it has a very pistol grip finish to it, which I like. It complements the whole military tactical style that Lithgow have about themselves. It's quite slender and it positions your hand perfectly in relation to the trigger. While we're on the trigger, this is a single stage 3-way adjustable trigger. It can be adjusted for weight, sear engagement and length of pull. It's adjustable from 0.75 kilograms to 1.9 kilograms or 1.6 pounds to 4.2 pounds, but it comes out factory set to 1.3 kilograms or 2.8 pounds. Now, the cheek piece. It is comfortable, but I personally feel it's a little low in relation to where my eye level is resting when I rest my cheek on the cheek piece to where my scope is set up atop the Picatinny rail. I feel as though it's more my jaw resting on the stock rather than my cheek. Now, I don't feel as though I have very tall scope mounts on this rifle. I'm running a Nikko Sterling 3-9x40, and as you can see, there's practically no room between it and the Picatinny rail. I am well aware you can get butt socks with a cheek riser in them to bring your eye level to be up to that height, level with the scope, but I guess in all honesty, it hasn't actually bothered me that much when I take it out shooting. I may consider getting one in the future, but right now I've had no major issues with it. Lastly, the 3-position safety, which is mounted on the back of the bolt shroud. Positioned over the bolt handle is live and ready to fire. You can cycle the action and fire away. Rotating it back 1 click will engage the safety, disabling the trigger and locking the handle down in position so that the bolt can't be cycled. Moving it back 1 more click now, so that the safety is now positioned over the back of the bolt shroud. It will still engage the safety, it will still disable the trigger, however, it will now allow me to cycle the bolt. I've personally found it to be a little stiff, and though you can disengage the safety easy enough with your thumb, I've found I do have to remove my firing hand from the stock to grip the safety and flip it back to engage it. Now that we've had a closer look at both of these rifles, let's get the results out from the range and have a better look at how they performed. Alright, so before we get too involved into looking at the results from these two rifles, there are a couple of things we need to take into consideration. First of all, the shooter, being me, no two people shoot the same. I'm not a professional shooter by any means. Like I've said, I'm just a guy that enjoys shooting and I want to share that with the world. The second thing we need to take into consideration is the ammunition. You've just got to mix and match until you can find the right ammunition that's catered for your rifle. The third thing we need to take into consideration too is the actual twist rate in both of these rifles. Now, the LA102 does have a 1 in 9 inch twist rate, and this T3, this Tikka T3 that we're looking at today has a 1 in 12 inch twist rate. Now, the tighter the twist, the better it's going to be at stabilizing larger grain projectiles. Now, I've seen a lot of guys on Facebook pages sharing their results using 69 grain Outback ammunition running through their Lithgow LA102 in 223. Now, I could have used that ammunition, but I feel personally it would have been an unfair test running a heavier grain projectile through the Tikka knowing that it wouldn't perform well. So that's why I chose to stick with 50 grain and 55 grain projectiles, because I know that the Lithgow would be able to keep up the pace with those rounds as well as the Tikka. So say no more, let's check out the results. Now, I have taken the liberty of measuring these groupings already, so that way you guys don't have to watch me faff around pulling out a vernier and trying to get a measurement on camera. So first up, let's check out the 55 grain OSA Blitz Kings. Okay, first up, Blitz Kings. Left hand corner we have the Lithgow with a 1.2 inch group, and right hand corner we have the Tikka with a 0.6 inch group. So these are the rounds that both of these rifles are sighted in with, and I got to say, I'm not terribly disappointed with how the Lithgow performed. I'm blown away with how the Tikka performed. Again, we just have to take those few things into consideration that I mentioned earlier, in particular the shooter themselves, being me today. So
you know, don't base the performance of these two guns just on my shooting alone. You got to check out what everyone else is getting, because there's bound to be some exceptionally better shooters out there than me. Coming down to the Remington Premier AccuTips, left hand side we have the Lithgow with a 1.9 inch group, and right hand side we have the Tikka with a 1.4 inch group. Now I've got to say guys, I'm a little disappointed in how these rounds performed today. I was told when I was purchasing these rounds that they were a match grade ammunition, and so I went in thinking that these rounds would perform exceptionally well. But compared to the OSA Blitz Kings, and even compared to the American Eagles like we'll see shortly, these rounds did not meet the standard that I thought they were going to meet. So I'm a little disappointed in them, but what do you do? Now the Seller and Bellet. I'm really disappointed in these guys. There's just no other way to say it. Again, when I purchased these rounds, I was told nothing but great things about them, and I've got to say they haven't met my standards today. In fact, I think they've performed quite dismally. As you can see on the left hand side, we've got the Lithgow with a grouping of 2.9 of an inch, with one of the rounds barely hitting the target, and on the right hand side we've got the Tikka with, well, those two rounds, that's 0.8 of an inch. However, the third round didn't even hit the cardboard that the target was mounted on. So, look, that's a miss. That's a fail in my eyes. So, got to give that one to the Lithgow. At least all three rounds managed to hit the target. And finally, we have the American Eagles. Now, these rounds have performed exceptionally well today. I'm blown away with how these rounds have run through both of these rifles. On the left-hand side, we have the Lithgow with a 0.7 of an inch group, and on the right-hand side, we have the Tikka with a 0.3 of an inch group. Now, when I first pulled one of these rifles out of the box, I was a little skeptical, because if you have a look, the casing looks a little aged. It doesn't look too pleasing to the eye. But the reason I went with these was because I've heard a lot of guys, again, give them great reviews. So, look, I've got to say they've lived up to the hype, and I'm really happy with how these have performed today.
Just one last thing on today's results, guys. If you look at a video I put up a few weeks ago, Practice Makes Perfect, you'll see that using the LA102 with 55 grain Blitz Kings, at 100 yards I was able to pull off a grouping of 0.5 of an inch, and at about 175 yards, when I moved the target out a bit further, I was able to pull off a grouping of 0.8 of an inch. So I know I'm capable of better, but clearly today's results are a reflection of my skills as a shooter, as well as the capability of these two rifles. Now, personally, I've performed much better today with the Tikka, and I don't own the Tikka, it actually belongs to my brother-in-law, but I digress. It is what it is, and I'm happy with the results from today. Wrapping things up today, guys, I'd just like to say I don't believe you could go wrong with either of these two rifles. There are personal things I like and dislike about both of these rifles. I like the action on the Lithgow over the action on the Tikka. I prefer the weight of the Tikka over the weight of the Lithgow. I love the look of the stock on the Lithgow, but I prefer the slenderness and the comfort of the stock on the Tikka. Now remember guys, everything I've said today about both of these two rifles has been my personal opinion. I can't recommend enough that you need to get down to your local firearms store and have a hold and have a feel of both of these rifles to help make that final decision on which one you'd like to go with. For me personally, if I had to choose between either of these rifles right now, I'd choose the Lithgow. And that's simply because I actually own this rifle and this Tikka belongs to my brother-in-law. So, do the math, I'm going to choose my own gun over my brother-in-law's gun. That's all I've got time for today, guys. I hope I've been able to help and answer that question for you, and I hope you can come to a decision on whether you're going to go with Tikka or Lithgow. Who knows, you might be able to buy both of these guns. Anyway, thanks for watching Good Cam Hunting, and you'll see me again soon.